Hi, it's me, your God. Today we're talking about video games. But what is a video game? Video games are an electric game that involves interaction with, man, stole this off of Google. What is it again? I don't know, I'll put something up. So, where do video games come from? So in 1971, a company called Size Guy funded and I is the script gonna fall? Is it didn't? Okay, so funded an idea from two men called Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney. So the idea was pretty simple. A game that could be played entirely electronically, which sounds normal for us, but it was groundbreaking at the time because that didn't exist, and then they were gonna make it exist. So the game was called Computer Space, and it featured a singular ship as the player. I think there was two other UFOs, and you just move around and you shoot the UFOs. Real simple. So, did their hard work creating this groundbreaking new form of media pay off? The answer is no. People weren't willing to welcome video games into like arcades. Arcades at the time, it's like skee ball, all that. This new, no one wanted it. So, that changed in about 1972 when Pong was created. And everyone was like, whoa, Pong? What's that? Well, you have a paddle here and a paddle there. Usually you can do it with AI. I think at the time it was AI only. I could be getting that wrong. You have a ball. Ball here, hits paddle, goes back. If it doesn't hit paddle and it goes through, the other person got a point. Real simple. And so video games were kind of getting popular at the time, but they would get really popular when what's it called? Magnavox Odyssey came out. Yeah, the first home console. Think of like your Wii, your Xbox, your PlayStation. It was the first. So more and more consoles sprung up in the following years due to the hype that was really not dying down. Most notably is the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System. It was insane because it also dropped with a weird robot thing. That was cool, but weird robot, no one remembers it. You know what they do remember? The characters. You had Mario, Zelda, Samus, not Metroid, Luigi, and so Castlevania, Mega Man, all these characters. Video games were not just go down to the arcade, oh, it's Pong. It has characters. It has things that you can like think of some video game characters now, like Master Chief. You think of Halo, you think of Master Chief. You think of Nintendo, you think of Mario. And so the industry was just booming until about 1983. Yeah, when supply was here, demand was here. So a lot of small companies were like, hey, let's make a video game. And so they did, and it was really, the games were really bad because they did not have enough quality control. Leading until, was it 1983, Atari 2600 landfill dump. They took a bunch of the bad games, Atari 26 for the Atari 2600, put it in a landfill. And you see, they did that, or it caused that because video games were real. It's real easy to make a video game. It's real hard to make a bad one. Here, or real hard to make a good one. Here, let me show you how easy it is to make a bad one.
I think it's time to blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
So I'm doing the rest of the video on the floor now because I just finished making Poop Fart. And you know how earlier I said it took me like 2 hours just staring at the screen to figure out parts of the procedural generation? Well, now I have finished the game and it has broken me. So we're getting the video on the floor, and I will be reading directly off the script from now on, and I have a water bottle. Okay, where were we? History of video games. So with the amount of bad games, like the one I just showed you, it just, the demand crashed. People were like, oh, we have too many games and they're really bad, so that's the demand. It really crashed, and it crashed hard. And so, also with the Atari 2600 video game landfill, I didn't explain that enough. Basically, Atari for the Atari 2600 was such a bad game that it practically didn't sell at all. So they rounded up the copies. Well, they pulled the copies from the shelves, dug up a landfill in New Mexico, and just dumped the games in it. And now this was actually a myth for a very long time. It was never actually true. A lot of people thought it was true, never actually confirmed, but it was in 2017, so we know that exists. Also, copies that were just dug up from the landfill go for like thousands of dollars. So video games, collecting old things, that's also a cool part. It's very profitable. So, video games now had a gray period due to the crash of '83, but made a resurgence with the SNES, the Nintendo's new console. You have the NES, which is the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the SNES, which is the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Basically, they took 8-bit graphics and they said, nah, not good enough, we need to make it super, so now it's 16-bit graphics. The game I just showed you, most of it is 32 by 30. It's mainly 32 by 32, that's what's standard now. You have games like Call of Duty, which don't do that, but if you're creating like a pixel-based, kind of like the old Nintendo games, it is 32 by 32 now. If you're looking for something more realistic, that's Call of Duty, which I can't even begin to describe the amount of effort it takes for creating this sprite for a Call of Duty game. It's massive. So, Nintendo's new console, the SNES, were launched. A lot of people liked it, and then they made a handheld system, a little small boy called the Game Boy, and that was, whoa, Game Boy. Because now, instead of sitting on a leather couch in the hot summer and your skin sticks to it and then you just pull it off and it rips and it hurts, and that's kind of how I feel mentally right now after coding Poop Fart. Why did I name it Poop Fart? And so now you can take your video games anywhere. You'd be like walking down the street, oh, I'm playing Mario. You don't have to be confined. So that was huge. So the Game Boy really took off. It especially really took off in 1995 when Pokemon was released. That's still a huge thing. That's just all started in 1995 off of just one game. Pretty cool. And so not only was Pokemon a hit video game, but it expanded into TV show and card games, which were also taking off at the time, showing that at this point video games were looking to expand into different types of media, because video game crash in 1983, they're getting very experimental. And so speaking of video games and other genres, it's now time for Gibby Reviews Video Game Movies in One Sentence segment of this video, because there's a lot of video game movies. So Mortal Kombat, the first one, the new one looks really good. Mortal Kombat, this one's bad. The Doom movie, this one's the worst. The Assassin's Creed movie, it was bad, but I mean, I liked it. The Mario Bros. Movie, oh my... See, I didn't say a bad word, I just put bleeps. I didn't say a bad word. So, thank you, Jesus. So video games stopped expanding into other genres for now, I mean, they're doing it again. Mortal Kombat movie is coming back. Looks good this time. Please be good this time. And so they stopped expanding into other genres. But Nintendo had to start to fight for their title as the king of the video game industry, because Microsoft and Sony were like, "Hey, we're the new kids on the block. Xbox, PlayStation." So Nintendo had to compete. And these new kids on the block, instead of using like the old cartridges Nintendo refused to let go of, they used discs, which could hold a lot more data. So you look at Nintendo, who was not using discs at the time, and they push out the polygony Mario 64, and then you look at Sony, which didn't use cartridges. They use discs, which could hold a lot more data, and they're pushing out Grand Theft Auto, Spyro the Dragon. They had pretty cool things. And then you like Xbox, Halo. And so when Nintendo did move to these, they did move to a new disc with the PlayStation with the GameCube. Instead of the normal sized disc, it was embarrassingly small. And so Microsoft was pushing out Halo, the first one, Combat Evolved. Nintendo didn't even have enough memory to put it on their discs. Halo itself is bigger than what a standard disc that Nintendo was using at the time could fit. So, but that changed in 2006, while Xbox was dominating the market with hype for Halo 3 after having the largest, highest grossing day one release of any genre, any media genre with Halo 2. So Halo 3 had a lot of hype. Sony had one of the best sellings of all consoles of all time, which now it has the PlayStation 2 has become the best-selling console of all time. And then Nintendo just kicks down the door. Motion control, it's the Wii. Next page. And the Wii just revitalized the hype train for video games. It wasn't, video games had the stereotype of it's the sweaty nerd on the couch playing video games, and now it's the sweaty nerd standing up with his family playing Wii Sports Resort and Guitar Hero 3. I worship it. I may be your God, but this is my God. That was very heretical. Moving on. So, that's kind of really the end. There is a lot more stuff to talk about, but that is the end for video games in the what you need to know about them. Because the Wii changed the stereotype of the fat, sweaty nerd sitting on his couch, eating Doritos, drinking Mountain Dew, and now it's everyone plays video games from time to time. You have mobile games on your phone. Look at Fortnite. Look how many people got into Fortnite. It has broken the stereotype. Everyone plays video games now. Looking at everyone in the room, yes, I can see the future, and I'm seeing you all watching me right now. Hi, Cade. I know you're here digitally. Is everyone here's played a video game? So yeah, that's really the end. I need to just go sit down more, and lay down, and just think about why I made a video game called Poop Fart.